Today's story begins in the bustling city of Tokyo, Japan, on a crisp autumn day in October 2018. The ever-modest and shy 21-year-old Yuka Takaoka lived in the Shinjuku district. Shinjuku is not the most ordinary district. Tokyo is known for its packed clubs, karaoke bars, and premium restaurants. All this beauty is surrounded, without exaggeration, by a cluster of skyscrapers. Yuka also lived a rather extraordinary time. It could be said that her life followed Western standards. She dropped out of university at 19 to become the manager of a hostess bar in Shinjuku. Hostess bars are extremely popular establishments in East Asia in the so-called nightlife industry. This is how they operate. Their clients, mostly men, come to hire a woman for money. But without the continuation you might have thought of, hostess employees mainly just served drinks, give compliments, and engage in pleasant conversation with the client. Moreover, Yuka was a fan of anime. On Twitter and Instagram, she often posted photos of her cosplay as her favorite characters. Her accounts, by the way, have not been deleted yet. Therefore, if you're interested in taking a look, the link to them will be in the description. Yuka was quite shy. She was the type of person who isn't very talkative at first, but over time, as trust grows and relationships grow, she begins to open up. No one ever expected any trouble from her. All her acquaintances described her as a calm and extremely sweet girl. Returning to anime, it should be noted that one of Yuka's favorite types of cosplay was yandere. The word yandere refers to a mentally unstable anime character. Usually these are girls whose abnormality is almost unnoticeable under normal conditions. But for the sake of their beloved, they are literally ready to do anything. Have you already guessed where this is going? In October of the same year, during a shift at the same host bar, she met a 20-year-old man named Phoenix Runo. Phoenix also worked as a host in a nearby host bar. It should be clarified here that the host bar is essentially the same as a hostess bar, with one exception. They are aimed at female patrons. Phoenix was extremely popular in both inside and outside the doors of his host bar, and he often appeared on the wall. He was honored because many women who paid for his company would return to the same establishment for him. I would like to point out that this is all a very safe job. Host bars and hostess bars have a lot of security and are officially under police protection. As you have already understood, Yuka and Phoenix worked in the same industry. They understood each other perfectly, not only as a man and a woman, but also from a professional standpoint. Later, they started coordinating their schedules to spend time together outside of work. Soon, they would become friends. Yuka's abnormal attraction to the object of her admiration is evidenced by her personal diary and notebooks, whose pages she filled, dedicating them to the guy. It goes without saying that after weeks and months of such meetings, the two became closer to each other, and eventually they... However, not everything was smooth in their relationship. Even though they met whenever their schedules allowed, work created some tension between them.
The fact is, even though both Yuka and Phoenix worked in the same industry, the latter preferred to earn money by flirting with ladies in his host bar. And this, as you can imagine, led to jealousy.
I would say that calling it jealousy is an understatement. With each possibility and month, Yuka became more attached to him, and consequently, her jealousy grew exponentially. It got to the point where she would constantly check his phone and even suspiciously follow him. And if you think that's harmless, how about this? She would come to the bar where he worked and literally buy him out.
Services for a whole month in advance, paying more than $9,000.
Every month, and all just to keep anywhere.
A bit strange, don't you think?
Let's fast forward a bit. May 23, 2019. Several months had passed since they started dating. Things in the relationship were surprisingly going well. And despite some misunderstandings, the couple was happy. Yuka continued to manage her hostess bar. There were no problems with him either. The business was thriving. She took a couple of days off to tidy up her hotel room. On the same day, she called Phoenix and invited him over to help with a cosplay costume.
And of course, he didn't refuse. Phoenix arrived much later than she expected because the shift at the bar was long. When he entered, he was very tired.
Phoenix asked Yuka if he could take a bath at her place to relax after work. She agreed. Then he went in, filled the bathtub, lay down, and fell asleep.
Meanwhile, Yuka was once again rummaging through her boyfriend's phone, and then she found several photos of Phoenix with some other girl. Yuka didn't know who it was, and she was certain it couldn't be a client since she, as usual, had booked Phoenix for the entire month.
This discovery simply infuriated Yuka. Considering that she noticed how cold Phoenix had been towards her the past few days, she connected this with the photos and took them as evidence of infidelity.
So, if you suspect infidelity from a partner, you should discuss it with them.
Ask if everything is okay, right?
Yes, but not for Yuka. When Phoenix woke up, he put on his underwear, went to the bedroom, and got into bed, trying not to wake Yuka, who seemed to be already asleep. Exhausted by recent events, he fell asleep literally in an instant.
Some time passed when suddenly Phoenix felt a sharp discomfort in his stomach. Opened his eyes, looked down and saw a knife sticking out of his abdomen. Waking up abruptly, he looked around in horror and saw Yuka looming over him. Is this real? Am I dreaming? Phoenix thought. Fueled by pure adrenaline, he pushed her away, jumped out of bed, and ran out of the room. Yuka ran after Phoenix and grabbed him as soon as he crossed the apartment threshold. He was taller, he was stronger, and eventually, with another shove, he freed himself from Yuka and dashed to the elevator. From that moment, Phoenix was losing a lot of blood. The elevator doors closed and it moved to the first floor. When the doors opened, Phoenix rushed forward. Having almost reached safety, he lost consciousness. Yuka all caught up with Phoenix. He was lying unconscious in the middle of the hotel lobby. Blood was spreading around his body. At that moment, a passerby noticed this horrifying scene, turned around, and immediately called the balloon. But Yuka did not run away. She got sat down next to his body. The people who saw all this were too scared to approach the pair, expecting Yuka to do something. There is an interesting photograph from this moment. When the police arrived, they saw Yuka sitting next to Phoenix's body, covered from head to toe in his blood, casually smoking a cigarette and talking on the phone with a friend. In the time it took the police to get there, she managed to take individuals of the prot out of Yuka. You can change me steer but Phoenix, and reflected all the emergency and expressism itself. Even with this interesting friend or RF. I was very sad and I wanted to die. I thought that if I killed him I could be with him. Numerous witnesses observed as the police escorted Yuka to the patrol car, and when she got in, she was smiling. As for the victim, Phoenix Runo was alive at this point, but hanging by a thread. When the police and medics arrived at the scene, he had not yet succumbed to his injuries. He was taken to a local hospital, where he remained in critical condition with only a 20% chance of survival. But on July the 1st, just over a month after the incident, to everyone's surprise, Phoenix was alive and recovering. He tweeted a message to friends and fans. "Sorry, but I'm alive and back." He later added, "My liver was injured by the knife, so now I can't drink." Having survived the horrific experience, Phoenix agreed to give an interview. In that interview, he did not show any hatred towards Yuki. On the contrary, When asked why he felt that way about her, he replied that he held no grudge against her. He even pleaded with the judge to lessen the punishment. On Thursday, December 5, 2019, the judge sentenced Yuki to years of imprisonment for attempted murder. Additionally, a condition that would reduce her time behind bars was the payment of 5 million yen. At her hearing, the judge stated, "If possible, I want people to continue living a normal life rather than paying for their sins." And with that, the story doesn't end. After the attempted murder and Yuki's imprisonment, she gained an entire community of fans. Most of them are fans of anime culture, who hold her in deep admiration. She is called a real-life yandere, and fans believe that she should not be judged for what she did. Instead, it would be better to send Yuka to rehabilitation. Yuka Takaoka is planned to be released from prison in May 2023. Write what you think about this girl in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see more content like this in your feed. Thank you for watching.